So I will briefly introduce Dr. Dilip Krishnaswamy, who is now the director of CDOT, the Center for Department of Telecommunication in Bangalore. And I have, he will be talking about part discussion on heterogeneous RIC, including his original idea and how he translated that to actual PAR form, right? So let me briefly introduce Dilip. Obviously, Dilip also have known him and worked with him on many IEEE activities for last maybe more than 25 years. So he's currently the director of CDOT Bangalore in India, where he leads initiatives in cutting-edge technologies such as quantum and AI, edge acceleration, zero trust processing, trustworthy distributed AI, digital twin modeling. He has over more than 70 granted US patents and more than 70 research publications. He also recognized innovator in tech industry. Dr. Krishnaswamy has a rich history of leadership, having served as the Vice President of R&D at Reliance Jio Platforms, Senior Principal Architect at STL, Edge Networks, Senior Scientist at IBM Research. His contributions have earned him prestigious accolades, including Technologist of the Year 2020 award from IEEE Bangalore. He has been an influential voice in global technology discussions, serving on industry boards like IEEE Future Networks Initiative, where I worked with Dilip in many working groups, organizing key conferences such as IEEE Future Networks World Forum. And Dr. Krishnaswamy also been a professor at faculty, sharing his expertise, next generation of engineer researchers. With that, Dilip, would you like to share your idea and how you came up with your PAR? Sure. You can share your stuff, Dilip.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can see you. You'd like to share?
Yeah. So I have a short PPT, which just pictures. So hopefully that conveys the message of.
You can put it in a presentation mode, maybe. If you can, that way people get the idea. You will get your idea and then see how it transpires to actual PAR form, right? Yeah.
It's too small.
Yeah, it's good. It's good now. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. So so last year, and thanks to Alex and Ashutosh and everybody else for the feedback. We discussed the possibility of a heterogeneous RAN intelligent controller. Because what we were seeing in, say, ORAN was, hey, we have a disaggregated RAN framework, with CU, DU, RU, but that's just going to be one part of the overall network. There will be legacy components, 4G nodes, traditional 5G nodes as well, Wi-Fi, and we're going to see satellite-based access, non-terrestrial, and also high-altitude platform systems, or even drones that could be carrying access nodes and stuff. And 6G is still evolving, next generation G is evolving. So we'll have to think in terms of intelligent control, both for the past, the present, and the future. And so we were thinking about a heterogeneous RIC, and we're thinking about a hierarchical version of such a RIC, one which could do delay sensitive processing, another that could do delay tolerant processing. So within that scope, as we were discussing last year, Alex was wondering, hey, these interfaces would be potentially supported by different service providers, in which case we have to bring it all together. And so we might need, a network anchor, across these technologies. Now this network anchor, we call it as an HNA, it could be an MVNO, as we were thinking last year, that works across these providers, or it is still a network anchor within a single service provider working across different network interfaces. So if it's just within a single service provider, then you're only accessing a subset of the available network technologies at that location provided by that service provider. If you have the network anchor that is a superset across all the possible service providers, and that becomes a business, as Alex was thinking about. It could be a network equipment at the edge that's actually doing this intelligent processing across these networks. So, when we think about this, what could be part of this heterogeneous network anchor now? Essentially now, as we think, in terms of ORAN, the way it has helped closed loop optimization with observation and control and programmability, we essentially can think of this network anchor as enabling information to flow in network KPIs from the different network interfaces coming into this, and that would go into a network data storage in this system. And then you could have AI ML acting on it, optimization engines acting on it. We can have a RIC now at this level, which is working across these network interfaces that you're monitoring. And heterogeneous apps, or we can call it H apps, can execute based on the information that's coming in, based on the learned models and stuff like that, and take a decision and control and set a control message back. And if these interfaces have exposed programmability, then we can actually close the loop. And so we can have closed loop automation across these heterogeneous network interfaces. So we're just lifting a RIC at a higher level, but we want it to be kind of democratic, neutral, working across technologies and service providers. So that's the vision here. And therefore, when we think of that kind of a neutral platform, IEEE seems like just the right place to kind of do this. As we think about doing this, as these apps execute, we might, just like we have ANDSF to kind of at a UE to have a policy to choose between Wi-Fi and cellular, we can have policy management at this level itself at the network anchor that could be used to send the control message, or the policy could be sent to the device and the device could choose and things like that. And, we do have, standards specifications, say for IP mobility, like 23.402 and stuff like that. And we could leverage that kind of mobility, control flows and all of that has already been developed in, say, 3GPP, and use that at this mobility management level. So, and, while we do this, we might need an identity management that is an identity manager that actually is aware of the user at this level. For example, when people went into the water in Hawaii, when the fire happened, what if we had launched an HAPS or a drone access point that would be flying over those people that were struggling to get access? The towers were busted. If you could have done that, right? Then if you had this kind of technology, if you had an identity that that could identify that particular person that's actually connecting into this system, then you would actually know this person, John Smith, is actually connecting and is here in the beach. You could have an access provider that's providing access to anybody, but then you don't know who it is. So if you have an identity management that has already been set up in our networks, then you can actually at this level enable the access and check that identity and let them through and verify them and let the families know and so on. So that would be a useful thing. And in general, with zero trust and dynamic security and all of that, at this level, we definitely need security and trust management as well. Now, one additional possibility is that, while we have this kind of an anchor, you could think of a hierarchical anchor as well. Depending on what information is exposed at each level, you could have a service provider providing a subset of network services. Maybe AT&T is providing access to your broadband and your cell phone, but satellite is coming through somewhere else. So the cellular and broadband could be managed in subnetwork A, but that goes to the to an upper level network anchor that actually brings in the satellite NTN connection as well. So we could think of hierarchical anchors as well. So this is kind of the high level place where we are at this point. This is
Dilip, do you take question
yeah.
now based on the slide deck?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
And then, I mean,
Or
I
I can
have a,
actually show another detailed document, a Word document. Shall I share that?
you want to show that first before you take the question? Sure, go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while Dilip is bringing it up, so there are, this was one of the presentation we had last year, Dilip, when initially introduced the idea. There was another proposal from Chatai on resilience that was also pretty good, and maybe two more. And so since we have our meetings, open RAN meetings every month, so our next meeting I will invite them to come up with a part, similar to what Chata is proposing. Okay, thanks. Because they have different ideas, and that will give us an opportunity also to walk through the fine details. Once we have a part document, we can get it reviewed by Mehmet and Alex and anybody else in Standards Association, and then we'll follow the actual part process. So I'm expecting, based on your presentation, Dilip, today, and then we'll get the review from Mehmet and Alex, and then we'll put it on the part process as appropriate, right? Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, this is a more detailed Word document giving an abstract introduction. The same figures, some target use cases are listed.
To make it a little bigger, maybe just, yeah, slightly, yeah.
Or font, should I make the font bigger? Is that big enough?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, different use cases. We were discussing disaster management, whether it was the fire in Hawaii or the earthquake in Haiti or the tsunami in the Indian Ocean in 2004. And, when infrastructure gets destroyed, it's useful to have dynamic coverage, whether it's satellites or, maybe there's a mobile van that moves to the area with the 4G, 5G tower and stuff like that. Also, dynamic access for ambulance services, been using the best available network as the ambulance is going to the hospital and, transmitting patient information and so on. So disaster and emergency services, and then, thinking about home connectivity services, can we do a smarter management besides, the current policy-based management that's programmed into a UE? And then also, there can be verticals that are connectivity challenged, whether it's a utility grid that's carrying electricity through the mountains somewhere, or the oil and gas sector, where you have a plant and in some remote location, or in the mining industry, and the cave is caved in, and but somehow can you send in a drone and still provide access and things like that? Or in the shipping industry, can you combine high-altitude platform systems and satellite and cellular, help sailors at sea and things like that? So some of these things can be considered as use cases, and would welcome additional inputs as well for other kinds of use cases. And as we were discussing, right now we do have smart connectivity. Our phones can choose between Wi-Fi and cellular and things like that, but we have the smart anchor with information coming across these networks. Then can we do a better job managing them? And it could be HNA specific to the service provider, as it discussed, or it could be an MVNO that works across them. And you saw this picture. And then different optimization problems could be solved, with the heterogeneous apps that are there. Could be optimizing network performance across these nodes, resource optimization, whether it's spectral efficiency, bandwidth, storage, compute energy, uh, cross-resource joint optimization as well, UE-specific optimization, whether it's for resources or mobility, and distributed network resource utilization optimization, whether it's mobility and load balancing across the networks, or energy optimization, or a combined target for both performance and energy and things like that. And so the key capabilities in the HNA are to observe network KPI metrics, store them, and dynamically process them as well, control the network interfaces. So we need each of these network interfaces to expose at least some information that can be observed and controlled. At least some abstraction has to be exposed at this level that they're okay with doing. And then you can have these apps that will take the information and take action. And the network identity that we discussed, and security and trust-related processing, and AI/ML and optimization, and policy management as well, and hierarchical HNAs. So that's the short document. And so there is another document. So I can take a question.
I have a question, Dilip. So this is good that it's placed out with use cases. Are you also looking for input for other use cases where this could be applicable? I know you talked about ANDSF. That's an interesting idea. And folks who may not know what ANDSF, the Access Network Discovery Selection Function, the 3GPP actually adopted. And I just want to give a little bit of history of ANDSF, because I was also heavily involved in IEEE 802.21, which is Media Independent Handover Function, became a standard. And we had, as part of MIHF, Media Independent Handover Function, there is a MIIS, which is Media Independent Information Service. And that got developed within IEEE 802.21. I was working at Belco at that point, it's early 2000. And we then introduced that concept in 3GPP. At that point, as Dilip mentioned, 3GPP was looking for a module that will help to discover the neighboring networks independent of the access type. That means you're moving between cellular, non-cellular, all those. How can you quickly discover? Because each access network has a different discovery mechanism. So that's where the whole MIIS concept got adopted, and they obviously had to give a new name. That is a good example of something that gets developed within IEEE can potentially be used in other SDOs. And so I see some similarity here, although this is more interesting to RAN, which now with introduction of cellular Wi-Fi satellite like NTN, I see a strong value for having a heterogeneous RIC. I mean, that was my comment overall. And you wanted to show the actual power form, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Quickly.
why don't you show that?
Yeah. Okay, so try to fill out the fields. And I wasn't sure whether this is standard or recommended practice or guide. I just started with guide, keep it simple, but I'm not sure if you have any suggestions for this. What should be a target here?
I think it should be a standard, because a guide would be just, okay, guys, this is what you need to do. Build it any way you want. Or you can take this, here's a menu, you can use this, you can use that, you can use the other thing. So guide has a limited usability, like after guide, you need to start doing a standard or designing your system. But let me say something else. You don't need to have a solution, which is you beat to death, you exactly know, you designed it completely, and then you propose a standard, because typically it's not customary to standardize your solution. There has to be other solutions. You open it for the standardization and you bring up your solution. Then somebody else may want to bring up their solution. we call these kind of standards development a beauty contest, where everybody comes there with their solution and they only fight which solution is better. I think it's another way to do it is to come up with a kind of framework. Okay, this is what I need, and come up with an architectural standard first, that I need this module there that will solve these and these and these problems, and will have these and these and these interfaces, and have that as an architectural standard, like a framework for whatever you call it, heterogeneous networking. I don't know, you come up with a name. Then follow-up standards would be already with a detailed designs, and many people can come up with their own designs. If you don't have that intent, that where you bring in the whole world on it, then why won't you just build this and be the first to market with a proprietary solution which works with the standard interfaces? And don't tell anybody what is in the box. Just show its functionality. Then you are the king. You will be, making the money on other people's ignorance. You will provide service that other people can't. To providers, whether inside the provider or inter-provider, you will provide that service. Then just do it.
Thanks.
You don't understand it.
Yeah, the only thing is the criteria for deciding, depending on the use case, whether it's a emergency use case or a disaster use case versus just a connectivity problem at a home or an enterprise. How we configure the system may change. I think we have to provide that programmability into this platform, and then make the algorithms, the heterogeneous apps that get developed, the decisions that they take would be driven by the policy and the information that's available. So I think it might provide support as a platform to enable people to create differentiated services as well. So we could have one platform that comes out, and we could leverage the IEEE testbed as well to kind of build this out. But then with that platform, others could, potentially reconfigure it for their needs as well. So this is where I was going with this.
So
Dilip, this is Mehmet. Have you made an attempt to put all these ideas into a PAR? That template, like defining the scope, a title, perhaps?
Oh, yeah. So that's what this document is on. Am I sharing it?
There is Mehmet, I think he has a document he just shared with me and Purba yesterday night.
Okay.
While he's sharing, I wanted to, Dilip, comment on your fast responders. I work in DHS projects here, and I can see a direct applicability in Department of Homeland Security. And the fast responders, they move around between cellular network and Wi-Fi, maybe satellite. And they have a certain type of priority service in one network, and quality of service they like to maintain something similar when they move around. So having the heterogeneous RIC type thing will make sure that before I hand over, I'm about to hand over, I have the right priority mechanism in place, right QoS mechanism in place, right? So you have the ability to program certain elements in the neighboring networks before you do the handover. Will be of immense value, right? Just like ANDSF providing the discovery part, here you are going deep into that. Once you use ANDSF to discover, once you discover and make a decision to connect, how do you make sure you have the right kind of knobs in place and all the modules in place and program so that I can still get my priority service, same quality of service. So I see immense value here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Can we look at the title also?
Oh, the title. Yeah, I just said heterogeneous intelligent networking.
It should be like a standards for, we need to be a little bit more specific, but anyway, we can work on that one.
Standard.
Yeah.
For heterogeneous intelligent networking. Yeah.
Go to scope.
Society committee, I was thinking access core, COM access core committee.
Yeah, it's mine committee.
Oh. Thank you, Alex.
But it's also yeah. So it may be that maybe Mehmet's committee, which is NetSoft, because there's a lot of intelligence here, a lot of software. So maybe Mehmet, it
Could be also Mobinet because it's a wireless mobile net.
could be Mobinet. Could be Mobinet. Yes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's probably more like. No, I think it's more like yours, man, because too much intelligence here for Mobinet.
Yeah.
But okay, let's see the scope. Is there a
Oh, okay. Scope.
Go down to scope.
lower?
Scope develops guidelines for the concurrent utilization of different networking technologies on a common platform with automated intelligence to provide the best services possible to people and to communities.
Okay, so let me comment right away. The scope is the way it's written on a PAR. It will be written on a standard, the same way. If not, you're going to have to amend the PAR, which may or may not be a good idea. So you need to say this standard, that's how it starts. Any scope starts. This standard provide guidelines, if it's guidelines, for a concurrent utilization.
Or architecture, right? You were suggesting focus on the architecture interfaces, right?
Well, if it's a standard, you will focus on architecture interfaces. I wonder, but guidelines is something else, right? But okay.
Yeah. Alex, I think this should be standard because guidelines is usually you have something and you're recommending something to how to operate, what are the parameters or whatever. I think this first you need to define this platform, right? I think that's why I suggest that this should be a standard rather than guidelines.
Right. It's too new to be a guidelines.
Right.
A guideline.
Yeah.
It's new concept. So the standard provides a I don't know, a platform, maybe platform architecture, maybe framework architecture, maybe functional architecture, maybe whatever is more applicable.
It could be actually, yeah, it could be part of the platform. So it's an additional, when it gets developed and deployed, right, it will be another module like NDSF that will have interface to different RANs, right?
Provides maybe a functional architecture and interfaces for
a platform, right? So.
For the concurrent utilization.
It's a space after A.
Yeah.
A functional space. Yeah. Functional architecture and interfaces for the concurrent. Maybe for a concurrent utilization. In interfaces, you have a duplication twice for the concurrent. You have remove for the concurrent.
Oh, yeah, for a concurrent, right?
For a concurrent utilization.
Sorry.
Of maybe just not different, maybe just of heterogeneous network technologies.
Yeah.
Genius networking or just network technologies. Network technologies on a common platform with automated.
Supported on a common platform?
Yeah. I think I would get rid of the last thing, to provide the best service possible to people and to the communities. Put that one into the needs section.
Right. Yes. Okay. Right. That's a benefit. That's not a technical thing.
Period.
Scope is your authorization of work. You can, by the way, subset it. You cannot superset it. So you have to make it general. So you could. So you include all the modules that in it that you may come up with. So it has to be kind of general, and yet it has to be to the point. And it's an authorization of work. So this standard provides a functional architecture and interfaces for a concurrent utilization of heterogeneous network technologies on a common platform. I don't know, is that the common?
On a platform, maybe. Yeah.
What is the technologies?
So these.
I don't know what is platform then here. What you can come up with a platform term somewhere later, but right now what you are doing is you're providing architecture and interfaces for this thing in the current utilization of heterogeneous networks with automated intelligence. You don't need twice to say automated, optimize. It's optimized. Okay, fine. Just to provide optimized network connectivity and services, providing maybe automated intelligence for providing maybe, I don't know, not to provide, not to, is it to provide now? It's for providing maybe, for providing optimized network connectivity and services.
I think, Alex, the word platform may go to right after this. A functional provides a functional architecture and interfaces for a platform to provide.
For a platform supporting.
Yeah. Right. Excellent. Yeah.
Fine. For a platform supporting. They can. No, you don't need the. You don't need the. You don't need this architecture. Providing concurrent utilization of heterogeneous network technologies with automated intelligence for supporting.
Yeah, I would put period after the intelligence and get rid of the. I think those are details. Again, you may put that one into the need section, I think.
Well, but what is it? Okay.
You explain those things. Why do you need this, right? That's the need and purpose section.
Heterogeneous network technologies with automated
connectivity platform?
Yeah, maybe connectivity platform.
It's not. Maybe it's also about. We could enable some services as well.
Right, but what do you call? It's services. You mean services, not applications. You mean services, right? Network services. That right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or should we just say a networking platform?
Yeah, I would say so. The face for a networking.
Heterogeneous networking platform.
Yeah, heterogeneous networking will be better. Yeah.
Again, there's heterogeneous here.
You have already heterogeneous. No, just not twice, once. Heterogeneous networking.
Heterogeneous communication platform. Will that be better?
I think I would make it as simple as possible. Just say interfaces for a platform supporting concurrent utilization of network technologies. I mean, it's obvious that it's a network platform, right?
Okay.
So it's a communication platform. So you need to...
Yeah, putting heterogeneous there makes sense. Yeah, I think this looks good.
I think this is good. Like this is good. It's general.
I'll take it. If you go with this scope, I'll take it.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Thanks. Okay, Asha, can I show you the purpose?
Okay, let's see the purpose.
Purpose of this project is to bring together different networking technology.
This standard, not project. Purpose of this standard, yeah.
Different networking technologies that are being developed by different standard bodies and technical communities like ORAN, for example, around the world, and to jointly realize an intelligent platform that can utilize these technologies in an optimized manner, considering different dynamic metrics such as performance, sustainability, and availability.
I think, I don't know, things looks good to me.
Yeah.
So availability is quality of service, priority, those things are part of availability. That come under that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We could.
Yeah, performance, maybe performance.
Availability is more from a dynamic availability kind of thing. It may be available and may not.
Yeah. I'm talking about availability and availability with the required quality of service. Those are two things, right? And my network may be available, but I may not get the desired quality of service that I was getting before, right? Yeah.
But now, okay, that's interesting. So I have a question, Dilip. So
Yeah.
I understand within one provider, this can work easily because one provider knows everything about the customer and knows about services. Everything is known, and no problem to ID somebody. And no, but when it comes to a service to multiple providers, so it's some kind of third party, right? Deploys this to offer to. How much of a service level agreements they need? I mean, how bad are these service level agreements? How detailed and then deep and intimate these service level agreements need to be to really offer everything, including QoS, including security, everything.
Right. So if our architectures are open and the network metrics are available, and you know, through the open standardization, we can request each of the technologies to actually share the information in a common network information database. Then this is an application that just pulls the data and takes a decision and informs the device, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This might be the best thing for you to do.
Yeah. So Alex, just to answer your question and augment what Dilip said, I can think of a scenario. If you have a heterogeneous RIC developed as a module, it will have interfaces with NWDAF that will provide all the analytics, what's going on in the network. It will have an interface to AND-SF that will help to provide which network I'm going to, right? Then it will have interfaces to all the RAN components. So that way, it will pull the information as it needs through API or whatever, right, and then act accordingly. If a fast responder is moving from cellular to Wi-Fi and it has a priority access in the previous network, it will make sure Wi-Fi network is moving to has access points that are, those are priority enabled, right? So those things can be done through this heterogeneous RIC.
Well, what you're saying now, that I'm as a customer, but who is your customer? If you're providing it to multiple providers, providers are your customer. The customer is not your customer, right? Your customer are providers.
Providers, somebody's going to build this heterogeneous RIC, and the providers are going to put that in the network. So there may be, he showed about hierarchical heterogeneous RIC, right? So the RIC from one provider may be connected to another RIC to another provider to exchange those information. That's a good point, though, right? If I'm moving within AT&T from different access network, or from AT&T to Verizon or T-Mobile with different access network, that's an interesting business model, right? That case, you have to have the SLA.
Within Verizon, no problem. None whatsoever. If you're moving between providers, you need to create a box, create an entity that has service level agreements with providers now.
Yeah,
right.
Alex, yes, you're right. I mean, if they don't expose the information, you need the SLA to kind of say, hey, give me the info. And there, as we had discussed last year, I think you were thinking about this, that it's a different company, it's an MVNO example that actually has these agreements. And then based on the agreements, you could get the information, and you know, it's a service that's provided on top.
Huh. So
similar to roaming, Alex, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, in roaming is one-to-one, right? Roaming agreements are among. Some will not roam you. Okay, you can come in with AT&T to, let's say, to some peculiar country, and they will not roam you because they don't have an agreement with you. They can't get paid, you know. So
I think roaming use cases could be included here. Obviously, should be included, but we are not really trying to see what kind of agreement they have. If they don't have, I mean, nowadays even operators are trying to figure out whole DSCP, deep sub code point. If it is supported in one operator, is it supported in another operator or not? That's completely depends, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
What I'm trying to say, Ashutosh, and Dilip and Mehmet, I'm trying to say that it would be very nice if this group we're joined by China Mobile, AT&T, Orange, Verizon. You know, like if you have few,
Operators. You need
few
operators.
you
Yeah.
have you're gonna have a good chance.
No, we will. Thank you for the suggestion. I mean, I'll reach out to Tracy and Jillian
Yeah.
to see if some of the members can contribute to. And I'm sure there are other operators maybe on the call today. We can get their suggestion. Yeah.
But it sounds very exciting.
Yeah, I personally think when Dilip introduced last year, and now that I work with many Department of Homeland Security project, I can see a direct relevance there. Yeah.
By the way, Dilip, we have a project in Comstock in John Liu's Aircom committee, which is a drone-based 5G base station.
That's
So
cool.
it's an approved project. It's already running for, I don't know, close to a year probably. Maybe half a year.
One of the
Actually, CDOT, we are working on a similar thing. We are actually trying to provide 5G access with a drone. So,
Dilip, can you move to section the
oh
next?
yeah, for the need. Yeah, let me cover the need.
So one other thing real quick, can you guys hear me? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one other thing real quick for the drone-based GNOB is that there have been there's been some work on ORAN partitioning, right? So having the DU RU partitioned, right, with the CU back somewhere else, we have an ensemble of drones, right? And all together they form a collective GNOB to the anchor CU, right, that they get to. So integrated access and backhaul would be key for that experience.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Taking notes. Who was speaking?
Who is speaking? Sorry.
Hi, Ashutosh. This is Bob Stevens from Keysight.
Oh,
Sorry.
Bob. Hi. Okay, thanks.
Sorry, I don't have time to stay on long, but I heard the discussion, so I thought.
Yeah, I know your presentation yesterday talked about NTN and others. Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob, great presentation yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you. And you guys have given me ideas for like the two things I mentioned for standards extension for NTN gateway and for MDT and 3GPP might be interesting things too. So, okay, but thanks. Yeah.
Thanks.
I think it looks fine to me, the need section. It's
Bob,
I think maybe people and communities, I guess, we missed. Should I bring that here somehow?
Just suggesting, Bob, I know Keysight has been doing a lot of interesting work this handover. I was in Mobile World Congress, saw some of your demos as well. If you like to be part of this contribution or anything, please reach out to Dilip.
Okay, I will. Thanks. Yeah.
Actually, the Keysight team here in Bangalore works closely with us as well. So, and Balaji out there also works with us. So.
Right, I work with Balaji quite a bit. So yeah, that's good. You're in good hands if you're talking to Balaji.
Cool. Thanks. Should we add people and communities? We want to help with this technology. So. Want to take the should I bring it?
I have a quick question.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Would it be valuable to add into perhaps the scope the classification and the organization of these variable technologies that we're discussing? To actually define them and classify them first before trying to harmonize them into a single platform.
What are the capabilities, limitations, like performance, range, all those things? Is that what you're thinking about?
Let me just enter the scope doesn't preclude it. So if the scope doesn't preclude it, I wouldn't put it. You see, when you over specify the scope, then the REFCOM later says, your scope says you do this. Why do you do that? So, but if you don't over specify, you just have a general statement. You basically can do whatever you want. as long as you can claim, and you don't have to prove that, you just can claim. That's within the scope. How do I do it if I don't classify the heterogeneity, you know, the components of that heterogeneous thing? So I wouldn't put it, because if you put that, you may want to put something else, and then the scope becomes too risky. It's just politics of SA.
But probably, you know, that could be some developed as an appendix or something to the standard. Maybe somebody needs more information. You could add
There is a section in the PAR, I think section 8 something, that you can put additional information there if you want.
If you want, but
I think we don't recommend it. So
yeah, I wouldn't. You can make it part of the standard, no problem. The scope says that you're using the heterogeneous, I mean, you're doing it for the heterogeneous thing, you're going to have to define it. How else you do it, right? So.
Thanks. So one other thing I wanted to say, you know.
I'm sorry, Dilip, I wanted to find out who was speaking. I'm taking notes. Who just spoke about this classification? Can you please identify?
Yeah, this is Paul Vineyard.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul. So one last thing I wanted to say, Ashutosh and Anwar have been working on this test bed, IEEE test bed, globally available. I have a feeling this thing can be part of that. So we could make it to the and you know, testing and certification, should we say some level of validation should happen with some impact?
Yeah, you should. I don't know if you want to write it into the standard, that dependence.
Okay.
Dependence creates an issue then, because then they'll say, okay, you didn't do it or they're not ready, so you can't approve your standard.
I'll just say yes, but in our mind, we will try on the test bed. So I'll just stop it here.
I think, that could be a potential interesting area, because now AT&T is going to be part of our test bed. We're reaching to Verizon, so.
I still wouldn't say yes. I still would not say yes.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do it, but don't say that you depended on it. You see, they say dependent.
Okay.
One important thing, Alex, is that they will ask is there any similar kind of standard somewhere, not necessarily in IEEE, but in other STOs?
Right.
Are you aware of any standardization activities in other standard bodies, Dilip?
So I think 3GPP has done Wi-Fi cellular coordination. Now they're trying to also bring in satellite as well in scope in their activities. But I don't think we have this flavor of a RIC where information is coming in. The apps are, an intelligent app can be supported. That kind of a platform-like support with data coming in, control going out, and applications running. That flavor is not there.
That is true. I mean, this
more
could be
policy-based decision-making kind of thing, still going down, I think, the ANDSF kind of route. So
yeah, I mean, just like they have on the data plan, at least the N3 IWF, once you connect, right, how do you route your data? But what we are doing here is actually can happen before even you connect, or maybe right after you connect through control plane. So for NTN, they're trying to design similar gateway, just like we have N3 IWF from cellular to Wi-Fi, right? And then you move to satellite, let's say. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Dilip. I haven't seen, but maybe while we start working on this, and this will be a very timely topic to start really working on it.
Sure.
And
I suggest, Dilip or other, people involved in this, choose the standard committee that you want to work with, and just to get in touch with them right away and go through the, the formalization of this process. I think this is ready to go. I mean, with a little bit tweaking here and there.
Oh, no, we want to keep it sort of independent, sort of, work with any available information. So, and create this technology. So otherwise it can get...
In order to make this one official, the IEEE SA project, you need to have a standard committee to sponsor your PAR. You need at least one standard committee to support this PAR.
Yeah, so I recommend you select Mehmet's committee called NetSoft SC.
Okay.
IEEE. But let me just interfere here. So when it says, does the standard foresee a longer term need for testing? Yes, it does. So you're not lying there. You're saying, yes, it does. Longer term, yes. But if it says that the standard will include methodologies, I recommend no. The reason is you don't want to be held up by that. What you want to do is this. You want to create this standard and then create another standard, which is the same number maybe, but called conformance.
Okay.
So,
Thanks. Yeah, I was about to ask you that question, that should there be a follow-on that actually does this?
Yeah. Conformance better to put in a separate standard. We did it, like I have 1904, which is a 802.3 overlay over the system. So we created 1904.1, and then we have the 1904.1 C1. There are like 3 standards we have on conformance testing.
So thank you so much for the feedback.
Yes, no, and the first one is good. That you long term, yeah, sure. Certification, especially, they love it. It's money for IEEE.
I think that's all I.
So we decided, Mehmet, it will be evaluated by your board going forward. Maybe.
Yes. So go up, put it in. Go up and put it in. Where this, in the beginning of the, it's in the beginning. The standards committee. You see, chosen from the drop-down menu. So you can put here. It's called com/netsoft
SC.
NetSoft-SC. NetSoft is capital. The letter S in soft is capital. Soft, no, slash, not slash, I'm sorry, dash soft dash SC. Mehmet, correct?
Yeah.
By the way, before com, put IEEE and then com. IEEE, com. IEEE, okay, good. Mehmet, you happy? Okay. Then put the chair, working group chair, put your name. Dilip.
Yeah.
Krishnaswamy. Okay. Put your, Mehmet, do we need here affiliation? I don't remember.
Not really, but why don't you put it now? Because we're going to enter this one to IEEE SA platform called My Project.
Yeah.
In that one, you're going to fill some,
fields. Yeah. Okay. Then
we are the R&D division for the Department of Telecom in India.
Okay, that's cool. Now go to contact information. Just scroll down. Standards committee, balloting information, individual. So individual is when each person represents itself, like, or could be from the same company, different people, all have voting rights. Yeah, individual. Okay, not entity, not one company, one vote. Expected date.
What do you recommend, Alex, here?
Individual. This is
fine. Okay.
Yeah, you need. Well, it's up to you. It's up to you, really. But if you want companies to participate, remember, companies have to pay to SA an annual fee to be members of corporate members of SA. They have to pay corporate fee, depending on their annual income. But governmental and educational institutions pay very small fee. But it's up to you. But by this you reduce the entropy. There will be less entity, less people participant if it's entity project, because not everybody is member of.
Got it.
Okay.
So the entities could then purchase the standard from IEEE eventually.
Yes, you get it for free, but members get for free, but entities purchased, yeah.
Yeah.
Standards committee balloting information, individual or entity. So you put in the individual, expected date of submission of draft to SA for initial standard association ballot. Put like 4 years from now. I don't know. Mehmet, how many?
That's too early. Yeah.
5 years from now.
28.
But the part.
If you can finish it early, that's fine. But this will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 28. So it's 4 years. You're saying that.
Maybe 27, and the completion date is 28 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Right. You will be able to extend the PAR. If you're not ready, you can extend the PAR. You need to have a reason, but it's okay. Month. Approximate number of people expected. You see, this is the question that I was.
So initially, I expect maybe around 2025, but I expect it to grow.
Well, it will grow. Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. Where is the contact information? I thought it was before.
Yeah, it was under 4, I believe, but
yeah, you need to go back to contact information.
You missed those things there.
Yeah.
What?
There has to be. I don't know what it is. Why are you missing it?
Project number. So this is full use or trial use? Full use.
Full use. Standard. Yeah.
Full use. Yeah. Type of document, just standard, get rid of all those things.
I'll remove the things in brackets but it's just comments from you guys that I'll keep with me. So.
Working group. Okay, so working group, it will be you create new working group. Yes, Mehmet?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Come up with a name.
So I think some of these things will be done automatically, but when you enter these things, there will be more questions about not only your affiliation, but your email, your phone number, and maybe they will ask a working group vice chair if you have.
Yes, it will.
Okay, I'll add some contact information.
Yeah. I mean, in that forum, in that platform, in that software, they will ask those things. There are fields that you need to enter those things, in other words.
Yeah. I was seeing the guidelines for access core, I think edge computing, I think it missed NetSoft, but during the meetings, you figure out other positions and things like that, right? In terms of contributors, or do we have to figure them out right now?
You just need chair and vice chair when you submit a part.
That's
This
right.
is there. You have to, but you should.
Yeah. Ashutosh would like to be vice chair.
You have a job.
We can talk. I mean, I'll be definitely a contributor. This is something looks very similar to work I did for 822.21. We can discuss that later.
He'll negotiate the salary with you.
But I strongly believe this will be an interesting product. Yeah, at some point.
Thanks for your support, guys. But I do think there's an altruistic, reason to do this as well.
And also the digital divide, connecting the unconnected stuff we are doing, right? This will be a good way to figure out the neighboring networks and configure the RAN accordingly. This will be a good application. We can add that as a use case as well. I know Dilip, you're involved there too. So
yeah.
Mehmet, he will not need your contact information, right? It will come up automatically? Or
yeah. I think if he selects a NetSoft there, then the rest will come up automatically.
We'll fill in, okay. Just
and
in case.
Who send this document to?
You don't. He just said, Mehmet, you go online, my project. You gotta on my project.
Here, you have it here on 3.2. It's called My Project. That's the name of that software package.
By the way, you as a chair, by the rules, have to be member of ComSoc and member of Standards Association, individual member of Standards Association.
Okay. So I'm a ComSoc member.
The officers.
I don't know if I renewed it. Okay.
Only officers, the chairs, vice chair, treasurer,
I'll do the essay part. Yeah.
So Mehmet, just logistically once, and I was just talking to Purba. Purba is sitting next to me and is following what's going on. So once it's submitted, then your board does a review and then recommends to create a PAR. Is that
Yeah, so the process goes like this. So you can put this one into my project, then I get notified. Then I have to take this PAR to my board. First, my board needs to approve this one. So either we're going to have a meeting, or maybe I can do a letter ballot asking the members of my board to accept or reject this. Once it is approved, then I can go to my project. I say, we approve this project. Then there is a committee as part of IEEE Standards Association Standard Board called NASCOM, New Standard Committee. So they need to review this and they need to approve it. And actually they approve to recommend this to the standard board, IEEE Standard Board, SASB. Then when SASB, this is mostly the stamping. Then it's going to become an official. So we can do this one, I think, for the next NASCOM meeting in December. So, and the deadline for that one, October 9, I believe. So
okay,
if we can do this one quickly, we can go through those bureaucratic steps to get this one done in December.
So Mehmet, so once Dilip submits, your board approves. So we can continue to work on this document, right? Just to strengthen. Dilip showed a document before. We can continue to add additional materials, use cases in between, right?
Right.
That can act like a supporting material, maybe if NASCOM wants to see some fleshed out.
No, NASCOM doesn't want to see anything. NASCOM will see only part. Mehmet committee may want to see anything. It's up to them.
Whatever. Right? At least we have a supporting document, right? Just if they have any question.
Yeah.
And then Dilip, we can even make that as a deliverable for our ORAN industry connection. While PAR is being prepared and reviewed, this could be a white paper type, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
We can do it.
And that's excellent. Yeah.
Alex, on a side note, I think for the Public Safety Technology Initiative Standard Committee that you're chairing, this as a, I think you should be interested in this as well from that perspective.
Yeah, I'm interested, but that's different, right? So it goes, it's already, we achieved the ultimate milestone, right? It goes into the PAR and into the system. Yeah. So, of course, it's interesting for that. But also, you may want to kind of befriend John Liu, who runs our drone standards committee. He has that project, 5G base station.
Right.
Because it's got constituency like Huawei, China Mobile, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this has been a great process. Thank you, Dilip, for crafting out the initial PAR, and Mehmet and Alex. Giving us a lot of guidance, not only for Dilip and us, but people who are on the call. And some of them will be presenting some materials, and they at least learned a real working session. So folks on the call, this is supposed to be a working session like this. So yesterday was just one directional talking, questions here and there, but today's thing will be like that. And speakers, I know you had an allotted time, but that's why I requested to make yourself available rest of the day. So with that, Dilip, you have anything else? Otherwise, you can move to the next.
Thanks, Alex, Mehmet, Ashutosh, for your incredible insight, and thanks to others also for your amazing comments. I'm done. Thank you.
There's a question on the audience here. Sorry. Excuse me, Dilip. I have a question. Dr. Amitabh Mishra.
Okay.
I think the utility of this project is enormous. I mean, it's needed, but it has many challenges that you have to overcome. The first happens to be the complexity is utter high. because of these different technologies, how they work, performance, meeting the performance goals, switching between different systems on time and reliably. So fault tolerance, reliability, performance, connectivity, these are enormous challenges, but over time you will overcome. But complexity is order of, I cannot say n cube or n4, very large number, okay? Because I have also worked in designing systems at Lucent and AT&T, but now this is n number of wireless technology. So need is there. That part I agree. But to make it happen, it will take some more time and more iterations. But so that's what I think, because performance, reliability, fault tolerance, and AI/ML related lot of problems, convergence, on time, algorithmic issues. These are major challenges, and I will be interested in solving one of these problems.
Yeah, we can. Dilip,
Thank you. Yeah.
Just
That's what we are, right? We are engineers. We take on challenges.
Right. If it were easy, you wouldn't want it.
We have another question here from just 1 second. So, Mehmet, another thing I was thinking, you remember we had talked about it. This specific one also has an applicability on 6G, talking about heterogeneous things. So, can a PAR be part of like an Open RAN and 6G, because we have two industry connection? It doesn't matter, right?
Well, I mean, from the standards, the paperwork point of view, it doesn't matter, right? But
Right.
In 6G, ICCOM, ICATE, or ORAN ICATE, we can report these things as part of the activity.
Yeah. Okay. We have another question here.
Let me answer the question or comment from the previous gentleman. So I see this specific one, as a beginning of a number of additional future standards coming out of this work. I think this is kind of a functional architecture, and out of this, I think there may be a number of other standards that we can generate. So, including the concern that you had about performance and others. Thank you.
Just a comment.
Thanks.
Just a comment. Some of the work, if you go back and look at the cognitive radio work, some of the work that you're going to need has been done.
Did you hear that question?
No.
I didn't.
Look at the work that's gone on in cognitive radio. Some of the work that you talked about earlier is very similar to what's been done in cognitive radio.
Yeah, so I think that's a good comment. So some of the algorithm things have been used. Obviously, the use cases are different, the architecture and the framework is different, right? The components are different, right? But that's something to, obviously, we should be looking at some work that has been done by others. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And as we go into 6G, spectrum sharing is also going to become important. So we have to pull in the cognitive radio work as part of that scope when that happens.
Dynamic access, dynamic spectrum share. Right. So we have a committee in ComSoc also, 1900. There are projects there in cognitive radio. It's typically a narrow, just adaptation of radio, like the white spaces project. They have others. So this is much broader. This is much broader. This includes cognitive radio. It's not like field cognitive radio.
Okay.
Yeah. Ashutosh, there are a couple of questions that on the chat. I like to answer quickly.
Sure, go ahead.
One question is, can an IEEE member be allowed to join this group? Actually, anybody can join this group. You don't even have to be an IEEE member. Okay, only the requirement is if you are going to be an officer like chair, vice chair, or treasurer or secretary, then you need to be an IEEE SA member, actually, and ComSoc.
And ComSoc.
Yeah. So the other question is, I think Krishna Srohi is asking, is there a requirement that we need to generate a document before we go through RSA or PAR? The answer is no. If you have something, that will be great to support your PAR, but in order to make your idea official, all you need is a PAR, project approval request, right?
Authorization.
Which is the application for approval. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehmet. And that's for the general audience here also. People would be interested. Even people will be presenting today their initial ideas.